Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In today's class, we will discuss Dr. Zakir Hussain. Firstly, we will discuss the life sketch of Dr. Zakir Hussain. Dr. Zakir Hussain was born on 8th February 1897 at Hyderabad in the present state of Andhra Pradesh. His father was a successful lawyer. He had his schooling at Islamia High School in UP. He received his collegiate education at Mohammedan Anglo-Oriented College, Aligarh. While he was an MA student, he joined a non-cooperation movement which was started by Mahatma Gandhi. The thirst for education and more education did not leave him, and in 1922 he secured PhD in economics from the University of Berlin. On his return from Germany in 1926, he was made the Vice Chancellor of Jamia Millia at the early age of 1929. He developed the institution into a distinguished center of learning during the 22 years of his stay in Jamia Millia. In 1937, Gandhiji invited him to preside over the National Committee of Basic Education. In 1948, he became the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University and remained on his position for 8 years. He remained chairman or member of many national and international committees, commissions, and organizations concerned with education, like the Central Advisory Board of Education (CABE), the University Education Commission, the University Grants Commission (UGC), in Basic National Education Committee, the UNESCO and UGC, the Basic National Education Committee, the UNESCO, the World University Science. As chairman or member of these committees, commissions, and organizations, he made his contributions and development of right education thinking and policies, and thus reacted fruitfully both in Indian educational theory and practice and the international scene. In 1952, Dr. Zakir Hussain was nominated as a member of Rajya Sabha. In 1957, he was appointed the governor of Bihar. In 1962, he was elected to the office of Vice President of India. In 1967, he became the President of India. The responsibilities of the political office, however, did not interfere with his preparations in the cause of education and culture in India and abroad. He often represented India in the UNESCO and served on its executive board. Some books which were published by Dr. Zakir Hussain were शिक्षा, यहाँ हम कहेंगे हिंदी, सेकंड है डायनामिक यूनिवर्सिटी, थर्ड है एजुकेशनल डिस्कोर्सेस, और है ट्रांसलेशन इनटू उर्दू ऑफ प्लेटोज रिपब्लिक, lecture on the scope and methods of economics, Edwin Cannana's Elements of Economics, Friedrich List National System of Economics, and Easy in Understanding. Now, dear students, we will discuss aims of education given by Dr. Zakir Hussain. इसमें नंबर 1 आता है ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द पर्सनालिटी. Dr. Zakir Hussain wanted that education should aim at all-round development, that is physical, social, moral, spiritual, aesthetic of the educand. He wanted that educand to be physically strong, socially adjusted, morally good, spiritually enlightened, and aesthetically refined. Education should raise the level of culture of the learners through goods of culture, which give real nutrition to the mind through educationally productive work. He wanted that educand to be socially adjusted and conscious of his responsibilities of the real citizenship. Number second, emphasis on creative development. Education must lead to the creative development of the child's individuality in an atmosphere of understanding, freedom, and love. It should help in building a peaceful and cooperative social order. नंबर थर्ड आता है इसमें emphasis on social aim. Dr. Zakir Hussain emphasized social aim of education. Individual development was the cardinal aim of education, but he did not want individual development in isolation from the social milieu. He advocated socially oriented education. फोर्थ इसमें आता है emphasis on spiritual regeneration. Dr. Zakir Hussain emphasized spiritual regeneration of the individual. He emphasized education for character, for imbibing culture values, and having positive attitude towards ultimate values. इसके बाद आता है करिकुलम recommended by Dr. Zakir Hussain. Dr. Zakir Hussain emphasized that education should be given in accordance with the aptitude and interest of the educand. Every student should not uniformly study the same thing. In the words of Dr. Zakir Hussain, to hammer into shape an educational ideas, considering it valid for all, is absolutely helpless enterprise. In democratic society, the individual aptitudes should be developed and helped to grow so that the individual may evolve into a morally free and autonomous personality. He, however, recommended that study of the following subjects. Number one, languages. Everyone must know his own language besides one or two other Indian or foreign languages. Number second इसमें scientific science and technology. Dr. Zakir Hussain emphasized the study of science and technology because there is no future for us without science and technology. Third, social sciences. Dr. Zakir Hussain wanted along with natural sciences, our students should learn something of social sciences. Fourth, art and music. There should be a place for art and music and song and dance in the school. For these activities are some of the important cultural goods which can contribute to the cultivation of the individual mind. Children should be exposed to these elements of culture. Now we will discuss methods of teaching given by Dr. Zakir Hussain. Dr. Zakir Hussain emphasized on the following methods of teaching. Number one, learning by doing. Dr. Zakir Hussain was staunch supporter of learning by doing principle of work. His concept of learning was not merely intellectual but also spiritual. Religion can be realized through religious practices, morality through moral actions, science through scientific experiments, and art through artistic activity. In learning by doing, practical activity with an educational value is involved. Thus, it implies educationally productive work. It its purpose full starving. Number second, social orientation. Dr. Zakir Hussain recommended socially oriented education. He emphasized the growing relationship between individual and the community. The growing child in the process of education must grow and flourish in the service of others and in mutually shared work. Number third, individual centered. The essence of Dr. Zakir Hussein's educational thinking was the principle of individuality. Instructions should be imparted in accordance with various types of individual differences. Dear students, now let us role of discuss a role of teacher discipline, which was recommended by Dr. Zakir Hussain. Dr. Zakir Hussain gave a well reasoned concept of discipline. He advocated self discipline and not imposed discipline. He wanted freedom and authority in compromising manner. Both freedom and authority are complementary and not contradictory to each other. They have to go together. The road to freedom is made by authority. To cut out authority altogether would be cut out the road. In the words of Dr. Zakir Hussain, there is no authority in education which does not recognize inner freedom. Similarly, there is no freedom without regulations or and orderliness. Authority does not signify compulsion, and freedom does not stand for lenience and abortion. There is no community, family, school, state which prizes freedom and has no rules and regulations. Recognized and blinding. Now, a role of teacher recommended by Dr. Zakir Hussain. In his treatise Educational Reconstruction, Dr. Zakir Hussain states that an ideal teacher is one who guides, helps, and directs the young so as to develop in them a sense of responsibility for their actions. This was all about Dr. Zakir Hussain. In next class, we will discuss John Davy.